Hello, bookworms!
Today we are departing from the world of books and we are going to be talking about two recent movies that we saw.
Yes. Line?
You just go with it.
I didn't know it was part of the intro.
So we are going to be having like mini spoilery discussions for both the Super Mario Bros. Movie and
The Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Good job.
And
And that's it. We are going to start by talking about the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which we just saw last night on opening night. We had the full opening night experience. There were even some rowdy teenagers that got kicked out of our showing.
youths.
This is the real deal. We are definitely stay at home and stream people versus movie theater people. So this was
We actually saw...
different for us. So starting off, what was your like overall review of the movie?
It was a lot of fun. It was a good time. We laughed. We enjoyed stuff. I enjoyed stuff that I saw. Movies heavy on like references. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, here's this from that game and here's that Nintendo thing and this. But yeah, it was fun to see it all on screen. Mm-hmm. I liked it. I had a great time.
Good.
You?
I would say that I also had a lot of fun. I don't think that it is a good movie, but I
would agree
that it was fun. I had like 2 glasses of wine before we saw it, and I think that was the way to go.
I would argue it's a kid's movie.
It's definitely a kid's movie, which makes sense because it's
but it's not
Mario.
At the quality of Toy Story or well-written story-focused movies. It's more like, oh, look, it's Mario and Luigi, and here's some references, and they're doing exactly what you would expect.
Yes,
for the most part.
It's definitely extremely reference-heavy and very plot-light.
Yeah, exactly.
Although one thing that I did really appreciate about it is that Anya Taylor-Joy, who played Princess Peach, they definitely spent a lot of time developing her character, and instead of being the princess from the games that is always being rescued from another castle, she is a princess with agency, and she is really the one that is more skilled than Mario, and she is the one that is kind of like spearheading this fight against King Bowser in order to save the Mushroom Kingdom and protect her toads.
Yeah, she doesn't have much of a personality in the games,
no.
So they just had to make one.
Yeah, and I think they did a good job with it.
Yeah. I was worried she was going to be really serious from the trailers, and she wasn't. She was fun, and there were jokes, and yeah, it was a good time. She also didn't fall into, like, love interest tropes either.
Right. Yeah.
The movie was more about the brothers in a lot of ways.
I feel like in the games, they always kind of push Mario and Peach together, and, like, they didn't even really do that. The movie. It was just like, I don't know, maybe they'll develop it further. I'm assuming they're going to make more movies.
Yeah, as long as this one does well, I'm sure they'll do more.
Yeah.
Could be like the Jimmy Neutron movie that Nickelodeon put out years ago, where they had all the assets and then they just made a TV show because they already made all the assets. So they could do anything with this. They could do a whole miniseries TV show. They could do whatever they want now that they have.
What was one of your favorite things? Whether it be scene or character or Easter egg?
I think the favorite thing was the fact that over dinner we made our own mental bingo cards of things that we were expecting to see.
We did.
And 95% of them happened.
Yes, that was actually really fun. We came up with like a pretty long list of things that we were hoping to see in the movie, and like almost all of them happened.
Yeah, like then they were all pretty obvious. I think the ones...
Some of them I feel like were a little more out there, and we still...
Like which one would you say?
You're putting me on the spot. It was a long list. I don't feel like all of them were obvious.
I expected your princess is another castle, and they fit that in. I knew that there was karting in it, and so I was looking for a blue spike shell, and we got that.
Yes. Things we didn't see that I would have liked to see. Dr. Mario.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You were hoping for a Dr. Mario reference. That would have been funny.
Yeah. One thing... Well, okay. My favorite thing in the movie was definitely Luma, and not just because Rosalina is my favorite and I love everything Super Mario Galaxy. Luma was hilarious.
Luma, you see this little magical star sprite, and it's got this upbeat attitude, but it's the most morbid thing in the world.
She's adorable.
But like, oh my God, I'm not even gonna say it. It's just
so funny. Like, Luma is there for the adults.
Yeah, I guess so.
Loved it. Oh, I also really loved that the like typical training scene that we get in every movie was basically a level of Super Mario Maker. It was like Peach created this board for Mario to train. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a really clever way to do that.
They kind of loosely like explained what was going on. They went with the traditional Mario and Luigi are actually plumbers, Italian plumbers from Brooklyn. They end up in the Mushroom Kingdom. I like that Peach was explained. It's like, no, she's not a toad person.
Luigi didn't end up in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Eventually it does. But Peach is not a mushroom person.
Yeah.
She's probably human from somewhere else that ended up there and became their princess. I don't know. She's not queen. That's logistics. I love that Jack Black committed to his role.
Jack Black was so good.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Actually, like he bled through a bit in scenes where Bowser's sitting at a piano.
Definitely.
That's all I'll say about that. But he was really good.
He was so good. I loved that they made him like a love-struck dinosaur. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, but that's like the idea. Like, it's not. Why does he keep kidnapping this princess? Well, obviously he's like in love with her.
Yeah.
So like that's fed into the plot there.
But it was more like he was just like a man who didn't know how to correctly handle his emotions versus like an evil character. And even like the rest of his kingdom is like more evil than he is almost, because he's like talking about they're gonna take over the Mushroom Kingdom and everyone's like, yeah, and then he's like, and then I'm gonna get married, and they're all like,
what?
I liked that we got the wedding Bowser outfit.
Yeah, so I mean, so many more references. A lot of newer references, a lot of older references. In fact, they even like kind of called out how some of the older references are old.
Yeah.
There's a joke in there for people like us. That was what the story I was going to say before. When we were at the theater, we bumped into a family friend we knew who is 17. And she was, 16, 17. Yeah. She's in high school. Yeah. And she basically was like, oh, I don't really know this stuff, but it was fun. You know it, though. And we're like,
we do.
Yeah, I mean, this movie's for like little kids and people who were little kids when the NES came out.
Yeah.
I love the music. So many musical references
good.
Throughout it, which were fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's the Koopa in the room. I don't know. I was trying to say elephant in the room. Like the voices.
Yeah, the voices outside of Mario were amazing.
Though that's not what I was even going to say.
Chris Pratt, like when we saw the trailer, we were both like, ooh. But then I would say that like watching the movie, his voice didn't bother me as much as I thought it was going to. Yeah,
they play them off as second generation Americans. So like there's a bigger Mario family. I'm going to call him Mario family because in the 90s movie, his name is Mario.
Yeah.
Mario and Luigi Mario. And they're all like heavy Italian accents, but you know, these guys probably were born in America and grew up in America, so they don't have it.
Right.
But it was fine. Like it slipped through from time to time. It wasn't distracting. And if we're going to criticize Chris Pratt for not doing an accent, Charlie Day doesn't sound like Luigi. He's not like, oh, Mario. No, he's just Charlie Day the whole movie.
But he does have like a manic, frightened voice, so I feel like it translates for Luigi.
Yeah, well, if we did Mario's normal voice, you'd have a whole movie of yippee yow, and it'd be aggravating. So it was fine. No, the voice was startling in the trailer, but it was fine for the whole movie.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would have liked to have seen that we didn't see besides Dr. Mario? So, as we've already discussed.
I feel like there was a lot that was shoehorned in, all this Mario Kart aspect, which I guess is because that's like the probably most well-known franchise out for average people, like people in college and high school, just like playing Mario Kart together. Even if you're not like a gamer, you probably played Mario Kart with friends at some point. That was kind of like shoehorned in, and we could have done more plot. But it was not a plot-heavy movie. No, I don't know what else I would have liked. You wanted Wario in the movie.
No, I wanted Waluigi.
You wanted Waluigi, but you can't Waluigi without Wario.
I could.
It doesn't make sense.
It would work for me.
I mean, there was a lot that they were shoving in. There was a lot of like explanation and exposition that they had to do for people, for parents who like didn't know anything. It was like, Mario is a plumber, right? So they had to explain all that. In fact, we even noticed like there's a point where Luigi gets captured, and then he's kind of like out of the movie for a while, and allows them to introduce new characters. So.
Yeah, one thing like so at the end of the movie, after the like climax battle in Brooklyn, Mario was like defeating Bowser, and then I leaned over to Andrew and I was like, now they just have to do that 2 more times. I think that would have been funny.
That would have been a deep cut video game reference that a lot of people have gotten. It's a rule, the Nintendo rule of 3. You have to hit the boss 3 times. That was great. I think my favorite deep cut obscure reference was their Brooklyn antagonist, who's not really important, is named Spike, and he is their boss. The boss boss of the Wrecking Crew, which is a reference to an old NES game where Mario Luigi worked for him on it. The game's called like Wrecking Crew, I think. And it was just like a very like deep, I don't know if it's a deep cut, but it's like obscure reference that I got, which I liked.
I liked the Duck Hunt Duck on one of the signs.
Yes, you got when you watch this movie, there's just
stuff everywhere.
signs everywhere, references to things.
So one thing that I didn't like is I didn't like that the dog that they decided to use in the movie in the beginning was the dog from Up. I don't know why they wouldn't have just designed a different dog. Like, it kind of took me out of it because I was like,
Yeah.
why?
There's like 5 to 10 minutes at the beginning of the movie where it's just in Brooklyn and it's kind of like let's go to the Mushroom Kingdom, let's get this moving.
Yeah,
but it was fun. I loved it. I had a great time.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a fun movie. If you like Mario stuff, it's gonna be fun. Your kids will like it too.
Absolutely,
it's silly.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to see if they do a second one, which I think that they will? There was an after credit scene, and I think that's coming.
Yes, stick for the after credit scene. I don't think it's not Marvel level, but
it's Nintendo level.
Yeah, there's a mid-credit scene and an after-credit scene, so you gotta watch both.
Watch both.
I imagine they will go with the shtick of that's happened in Nintendo where, like, sometimes Bowser kidnapping Peach and, like, the kingdoms are at war. And sometimes they're in between things and they're taking a break and they're like, let's go golfing. Let's go karting.
You're hoping for a Mario sports movie.
I think things are gonna. I think it'd be funny to see things begin to break down and Bowser's not the antagonist and like other things go on. You know, I think it's just gonna get. It's Mario. It's gonna get sillier, and I think they should just lean into it.
Yeah, I think so too. I would love to see Rosalina. That would be my one request.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Daisy too, but you don't like her.
No, Daisy doesn't have to be in it. Rosalina, that would be a good addition.
They had Pauline in the movie briefly, but you hate her too.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So overall, we both had a really fun time with the movie. Let us know if you have seen it, if you have any comments or anything to contribute, or let us know like what some of your favorite scenes were from it.
No, I have nothing to add.
All right.
What were we supposed to do?
So, switching gears, now we're going to be talking about the Dungeons & Dragons movie, Honor Among Thieves. We also saw this opening weekend. We've been quite the avid moviegoers as of late. It worked out that 2 of our most anticipated films of the year came out back to back.
I still prefer seeing movies at home if I can help it, but
I do too. But it was fun. We actually saw Honor Among Thieves along with some of our adventuring party, so that was fun.
Oh yeah, our friends Mackie and Alexa, who Mackie
is our DM,
was our first DM and like got gave us the opportunity to play.
Yeah.
And our friend Lily was there.
Yes. So, what was your overall feeling about Honor Among Thieves?
It was great. It was a lot of fun. Piggybacking off of the Mario movie critique, it was a good movie.
Agreed.
It had I don't want to and falchions and cunning. It was a lot of fun. It was a good movie. They made it very accessible, I think, which is like a theme of D&D. It's for everybody. Everybody can have fun with it. So it's not like stepping into the Lord of the Rings and you need to embrace and immerse yourself in it. No, everyone talks in a normal accent and it's modern humor, and it was fantastic.
Agreed. I really loved Honor Among Thieves. I think, like Andrew said, it's very accessible for people who don't play Dungeons & Dragons, but there were also a ton of Easter eggs for those who are familiar with the world, from location names to magical items to spells that were being used, different races and classes. I think they did a really good job with it, and this one I genuinely loved, and it wasn't just fun, it was a really good movie.
Yeah, it's just a fun fantasy movie. You don't have to have ever touched Dungeons & Dragons to go see this action comedy that they've made.
I'm really hoping that they'll make more D&D movies because this was good. I would see more of these.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to even use the same characters or
they could totally
actors.
Use different.
Just, it's a fun genre to build in. There's a lot of flexibility,
Yeah.
I don't know D&D lore, which is confusing because, when you play this game, you can make it all up. It's a game of make-believe in a lot of ways, but there are official stories.
Yeah.
And so, they say Neverwinter, and it's like, okay, I've heard that, but I don't know what it is, and now I still don't know much about it, but That's fine. It
But
didn't
it was
affect
fun.
it didn't affect how I saw the movie. It was a lot of fun.
So who did you have like a favorite character within the movie?
Favorite character? I mean, it was probably the main character, Chris Pine's Eggert.
Edgin.
Edgin, played by Chris Pine, was probably my favorite because he's the traditional rogue, bard, rapscallion, con artist character. So he's clever, he's witty, he's coming up with the plans. The plans often don't necessarily go right, so he's improvising.
He comes up with Plan B.
Yeah, and he comes up with Plan B. He's the comic. I don't think he's the comic relief. There's a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
But, that's fun. That's your fun. Your Han Solos, your Malcolm Reynolds, your Indiana Jones to a degree. It's just a fun character.
Yeah. I personally liked the druid character, and I don't remember her name.
Dork? Something like that?
Dork?
Doric. Doric?
I'm not sure. You should probably look
Yeah,
it
just
up.
look it up real quick.
Doric. Nice. You did it.
Doric.
You were close. So Doric was my favorite. She was a druid. I loved her aesthetic. I loved all of her shifting into different animals. I thought that was so fun. I play a druid in one of our campaigns and I never shift into animals. But after seeing her do it, I feel like I should do it more. So I really liked her, and I also really liked Jornathan.
Jornathan is great. That's all we'll say about Jornathan.
That was really fun.
He's a little late to the party, but when he gets there, it's great.
It's so true. It's one of the things that I really loved about it is that it is truly like a D&D campaign, and there were so many things that we saw happening within the movie that we were like, this absolutely happened during a home game, and then it was translated into the movie. So something like Mackie pointed out actually, which I thought was very apt, was that at one point they encounter a dragon, but it's not a typical dragon that we're used to seeing. It ended up being a very overweight dragon. And Mackie was like, that absolutely was someone's cat that jumped on their battle map. And we were like, that is so true. And it just felt like all of the different situations that they found themselves in was them rolling natural ones or natural 20s. They often succeeded gloriously or failed epically with certain things.
Which comes up if you play the game a lot. It's your best laid plans are not going to work 9 times out of 10, and then it's about improvising and going with it.
Yeah.
And that's because the failures can be more fun than the successes half the time.
Absolutely, yeah. And yeah, it changes the way that you do things. I really loved Holga. I thought she was really funny. They chose a really good villain.
Yeah, I think the plot was well structured. Like you said, it could be it could be an actual campaign you at home where there's a very clear goal at the beginning, but it leads you on side quest to side quest to side quest that you have to accomplish this, but to accomplish this, we have to go find that. And then once they start finding things, they start coming back closer and closer to the point of the goal. And then there's usually some twists and turns as you get closer, which is a lot of fun.
I also really loved the paladin character.
He was great.
He was excellent.
See? The paladin.
Yeah. One of the things that I really enjoyed was that there's one scene where he is walking away from them, and they're he's walking in a straight line. What's he gonna do? There's a rock in his path. They're like, is he gonna go around it? Is he gonna do this? And then nope, he just walks straight over it. He's
a hyper-focused,
very
sure of himself character, so he just
But
up over the
earlier
rock.
in the movie, they were in another location, and he was, I can't remember if he was further behind them or way ahead of them, and he heard everything that they were saying, and Edgin was like, how can he hear me? So when that scene was happening, I just pictured him listening to them, debating what he was gonna do, and you only see him from the back, but in my mind I was picturing him from the front going I'm gonna just walk straight over this rock, because no one would walk like that. It was so funny.
And this is good examples if you ever want to play the game and get into it. You could be, you're Luke Skywalker or Aragorn or Wonder Woman or whoever you want to be in this pillar of awesomeness, but it's more fun to figure out the flaws. He was so great and powerful as a character, but he didn't understand sarcasm. He was weird and just walks right over the rock in a weird way. And that happens with all the other characters. They have fun flaws that mix things up.
Yeah.
It was great. The humor was good. The story was great. I know we're D&D players, and I'm probably the bigger D&D nerd because I've actually like run games, so I've like read a lot of the rules. There's some people out there who, like, if you're really into D&D, might get a little butthurt about like
some technicalities.
But
I feel like that goes along with the fact that D&D often has like homebrew rules. So while there's like a basis of things that you can do, like you really can make the game your own, and oftentimes different characters within homebrew games will have like exceptions to the rules. So I feel like I think you're probably specifically thinking of the druid turning into an owlbear.
Yes.
Which is not something that's technically allowed, but like maybe that was her exception to the rule.
Yeah, owlbears are iconic D&D creatures. And so they made it fun, like, ooh, she can turn into it.
Yeah.
And someone was sitting there going, oh, well, technically you can't turn into an owlbear as a druid. But she also doesn't cast a single spell outside of turning into animals.
Yeah,
so, yes, she could turn into 7 different animals in a fight, which you can't do in the game. But it fit the story.
It did.
And so it worked.
It was fun.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really liked was that like early on when they're in like the kingdom, you see behind them a group of people that are dressed like the animated D&D characters.
Oh yeah, there's
I thought that was really fun. Yeah, there were a lot of fun Easter eggs.
Yeah, there were good ones. There's technically a Critical Role one in there that I didn't even realize. I didn't
realize it either.
I thought it was a coincidence, and then apparently it is. It's subtle. What?
It's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence. It is an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Been confirmed.
It has.
They make like the fantasy aspect of it really normalized. Like there's so many different creatures. There are creatures that, like, people who look like lizard dragons. There are bird people. There are cat people. There are legally distinct hobbit characters that are really short.
I very much liked the halfling.
Yeah, they're called halflings in D&D because in the 70s they got sued for calling them hobbits. But yeah, they're just there. And it's not weird, and it's fun.
No,
There's a lot of humans, but I think that's for the general audience to like watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like the main party is basically all human.
It is, yeah. There weren't any non-humans.
The druid is a tiefling, but that just means she has horns, whereas like...
Yeah, she didn't even have like a tail or like the solid
They usually
eyes
have different colors. Yeah, in
different
D&D,
colored skin.
Exactly. In D&D they have different colored skin. They look more demonic, but otherwise everybody else is like mostly human. Yeah. That we see.
I liked the villain group. I thought that was interesting too. Like the red sorcerers. What were they called?
Red wizards?
Red wizards, maybe. Yeah. I liked them. I liked how that whole thing played out. I thought the final battle was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And also the foreshadowing for that one item, that like magical item, I felt like it was kind of obvious what was going to happen with that, but it was still fun. Like, it didn't bother me.
It was pointed out to me that all the characters play a role, which is great. It's kind of, in each scene, each of them have their part to play, which is great. Even at points when they're hindered, like there's a point where the 2 magic people can't use magic. Mm-hmm. And they start like they still figure out like ways to get over the situation. Mm-hmm. So it was really good. It's just a funny movie. Like it's on. I would say it's on level with like a Thor or Guardians of the Galaxy style humor movie.
Agreed. Like this is a movie that I would show my dad, and I think he would find enjoyable.
Yeah, he's like, okay, it's medievally and there's creatures. I get it. Let's watch. I like that guy with the wings. He was very funny.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people could watch this and enjoy it.
Absolutely. If they do another D&D movie, is there anything that you would want to see? I would like to see some dark elves.
Oh, some drow? Drow would be cool.
Or sea elves.
I'd like to see different things.
Would you like to follow the same party, or would you want it to be more of like an anthology of movies?
I'm fine if some of the characters were the same. I'm not completely in love with all of the characters. They might have fallen a little flat at points. They're a little more shallow as characters. They were a lot of fun. They all engaged with each other, but like I wasn't invested in all of the main characters.
Mm-hmm. I honestly think that it would even be fun if they did like adapt some of the stories within the world of D&D. So still have like the humor and stuff, obviously, but even just like follow a well-known, like if we had like a Drist movie, that would be so cool.
Yeah, I mean they've dipped their toes in, proving that the audience will enjoy it, and then go in that direction, and that will lend to some more serious storytelling.
Yeah,
I would just like to see something different. This was in many ways kind of a traditional like heist movie. Like they're honor among thieves. They're thieves. So like they had they're getting together, they're plotting, they're going through all the steps to get ready for the plan, they execute the plan, etc., etc. I'd like, something different. A high seas adventure.
Yes, that's what I would like.
You know, something maybe with bigger stakes put at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything like, just have fun with it. Yeah, do other characters. And they could still have nods. You could have like a Chris Pine like cameo.
Yeah.
Unless he died in this movie. I don't know.
It's spoilery. He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. I'd be down for... I think the characters told their story, and it'd be fine to see more.
I would like to see someone cast Eldritch Blast.
They probably did a couple times. That's fun about the spells. Like, the magic, if you're a D&D fan, you're like, I don't know what that spell is, I don't know what that spell is. But, like, half the time, they're not even saying them. And it's not like some fantasy where, everyone's just doing magic, and it's just kind of a cacophony of things, and you're not really sure what's going on. This, like, was more controlled, and it'd be like, here's a spell, here's a shield. But it's not too... It's very clear, and it's easy to follow. Yeah. It doesn't feel overwhelming. Like traditionally, bards in D&D have a lot of magical power. Chris Pine's character does not, which is good because you already have two people who can do some type of magic, so it's not overloading. Hugh
Grant's character was a lot of fun.
Oh, he was great. He was fantastic.
Is, like, you don't like him. Like, I obviously did not like him, but he was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and he had great lines and roles in the way he played things. You get his motivation. Yeah. And you don't like him, but you also like him.
You also kind of do, yeah.
He's fun. He's charismatic.
Yeah.
As most of the characters are to a degree. Yeah, it was a great time. I had a good time. I hope this makes some people think let me go play D&D. And
I hope so too.
Yeah, you just need to find somebody to run the game.
Yeah, and also then coordinate schedules. That's the hardest part.
Yes. The true big bad evil of D&D is finding time.
So let us know if you have seen the D&D movie, and again, if you have any thoughts or opinions on it, or any feelings or things that you would want to see if they do. Why are you looking at me like I'm
It's Dungeons and Dragons, in case we never said that at any point, what D&D is.
No, we definitely did.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Let us know if you have seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Honor Among Thieves.
Honor Among Thieves. Let us know any of your favorite characters, any of your favorite scenes, and if you also hope that there will be a second movie, if you have any expectations or things that you would love to just see come to life on the big screen. So thank you for joining us. This is something a little bit different, doing some kind of chatty movie spoilery reviews. I said that out of order.
It's okay.
I just kept throwing adjectives in there.
I followed it.
I think I would like to try to do some more of these. I think it's fun to have kind of a discussion about different types of media, and Andrew and I tend to watch almost everything together, so it's nice to discuss it and share it with you guys.
We also have our own things that we bring in. You do a lot more. You read a lot.
Yeah, and you play a lot more games.
I play games and follow some other mediums.
Yeah. So that's all that we have for this video, and we will see you guys soon in a new one.
Bye.